Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video where I am looking at some old White Dwarfs I found. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at issue 226, which came out in October, and I believe it was 1998. Cool, right, so let's start with the cover then. So we've got a picture of the White Dwarf up here. So that's one of the old variations of him. Obviously it says White Dwarf, and here, as you can see straight away, we've got a free Dark Eldar warrior. I believe, if I'm just reading this, new codex, Space Marines versus Orcs battle report, even more regiments of renown, collecting the Warhammer Undead army, new Warhammer 40,000. So I could have got there quicker, you've probably all seen it, I was just working my way down the side. But so this was, I believe, 3rd edition, 98, I think that's right. So Dark Eldar versus Black Templars, I'm guessing, because that's why they're on the cover. So as you can see, you've got some nice artwork of the Black Templars. However, where you got your free model, it obviously has torn the cover. So the tape that probably held whatever was on here, I can't actually remember. Was it just a blister pack? I can't remember how they used to do them now. But it unfortunately has torn some of the artwork, but never mind. And for anybody who's not aware, so back in the day, if you got free stuff on the magazines and it wasn't there because somebody had nicked it, there always used to be like a little message just to say, basically speak to your retailer and just say, look, this is missing, what's happening? But normally it'd just be a simple message, but because it's White Dwarf and it's back in the 90s, they've got a little, it says here, if there isn't a plastic miniature attached to the front of this magazine, your retailer needs to be asked some very stiff questions indeed. And I just like that because it's not just a normal, you know, ask your retailer where it is. It's, you know, it's quite quirky kind of White Dwarf, you know, back in the day, how they used to be. A bit of a sense of humour, that's probably what I'm getting at, isn't it? There's a little bit of humour in it. Anyway, enough babbling, let's get into it. So as we open up our cover and have a look, so the contents is what we're presented with immediately, and you can see it's actually divided. So you've got a whole Warhammer section here, White Dwarf contents, so it goes through what else is coming up, and then a whole page dedicated to Warhammer 40k, and in it's got how to paint Dark Eldar, a bit about 40k, some art showcase. So, in the pipeline, what's coming up for Warhammer 40k? So Andy Chambers was still here at the time. I remember Andy Chambers. Apparently he's talking about the new models and codex. I remember this, Chaos Gate. I don't know if any of you guys played it, but I did love that. We had it on the old PC. It was a great game, very frustrating when your Space Marines missed, but you know, it was a good game all around. So just quickly as well, a nice piece of artwork. So this is what was basically on the front of it. A nice little section of this whole artwork by John Blanche. And again, it mentions John Blanche down here. So Warhammer 40,000 by John Blanche. From what I'm thinking, I think that was the front of the box as well for 3rd edition. So the next page is what we've got. So we've actually got the guys who work at White Dwarf. And I don't know why this is making me chuckle. The White Dwarf blokes. So a little bit of humour again, in the old style of White Dwarf. And we've got Paul Sawyer, who is called Fat Bloke. Oh, and editor, as they put in brackets. Adrian Wood, called Orky Bloke. Graham Davey, Wordy Bloke. Nick Davis, Lizard Man. Andrew Sharman, very worrying. That's a good face as well. And then this little bit, it could be you. So check out the ad opposite. So, oh here. So White Dwarf in need of dwarfers. So you basically just, looks like you send in your details to the Lenton, Nottingham, so the Warhammer world basically, to try and apply to be in Games Workshop. So that's a bit different. Again, it's a bit of a look into the past of how things used to work. You could just send in your application. So see, well, how do we have? Applicants must have an extensive working knowledge of both Apple Macs and Quark Express, Avobus, Freehand and Adobe Photoshop. You think you fit the bill, any key areas, want nothing more than a career at Games Workshop, then drop us a line. I wonder how easy it was to actually get a job back in the day then, just doing stuff like that. I wonder how many people actually ended up working in White Dwarf or just in Warhammer World or any Games Workshop, I guess, just by sending in a message to them like this. But so anyway, getting sidetracked, letters page, and we've got new releases this month. So there's a whole section for Warhammer, so you've got Undead and Dogs of War, and then for Warhammer 40k, you've got the complete box game. There you go, and it was retailing for £50 back then. And then a little bit about Black Library. So this month's Black Library, Warhammer Monthly, £2, Journal, £5, Calendar, 1999 Calendar, £8. Just jumping back up here again, I forgot I didn't even look at the prices of the Warhammer stuff. So a Skeleton Warriors Warhammer Regiment box was £10, and I don't know how much they are because they've just re-released them, haven't they, for the new Old World stuff. So I'm guessing that's probably the exact same thing, but probably 3 times the amount, if not more. So they used to be £10 for Skeleton Warriors. And over here then, so Warriors for Hire, it needs some seriously tough troops for your army. Goldfangs, Ogres, and job territory in your enemies. Okay. Warhamster, Killer Rodent Attack. What's this? Tristan Nichols sent us this photo of his hamster, which, believe it or not, is a Russian White Dwarf hamster. This ball of psychopathic furry death, known to her friends as Millie, can be seen here ferociously defending her home against an orc invasion force. Note that hamster wheels count as defending obstacles. So little stuff like this, I remember this is how White Dwarf used to be. It doesn't feel the same anymore, does it? It kind of, I don't know if you'd see something like this little bit in a modern day White Dwarf, really. It's just, it doesn't take itself too seriously, does it? And it feels like a hobby still at this point. It's, I don't know, it feels like quite corporate-y these days. It could just be me, I don't know if that's the right word. But anyway, let's move on. So the next couple of pages then are just news. And it's basically just advertising the new 40k game coming out 10th of October. And a whole little section on that with a nice little picture of some Blood Angels here with the Land Speeder. And I think these were the new sculpts at the time, weren't they? So just coming out 2nd edition for all the mono posing guys. And was this the first tactical squad where you could actually pose them in different... Yeah, I remember that sergeant. I'm sure he was like the first tactical squad that actually looked sort of modernized, weren't they? They weren't all just push fit, stand with your bolters against your chest marines anymore. They actually looked a bit more dynamic. Down here, it's just a little bit of jungle trees, gothic ruins, a little bit of scenery. Here we've got a cool little picture of Nick Davis before he moved to White Dwarf. Makes it very clear that the new game is top secret. So again, just a little funny picture of him working on something on the computers, you can see, but you know, just having fun. I mean, I don't think you'd see again a photo like that. Everything's quite, you've got portraits now, haven't you, of everybody in White Dwarf, which, you know, it's a bit more serious, and you know, but stuff like that, I miss things like that. Over here, so you've got army painting. So a bit about painter Dave Thomas has painted up an entire Valhallan army on Iceworld bases. Bit of artwork, so as well as John Blanche's stunning box lid art, dozens and dozens of new pictures have been drawn and painted for the rule book, a new codex book. So who's this? So it actually says Paul Smith is working on the Space Marine picture. Note how he has photos of the new plastic marines to ensure the details are accurate. Over here then, we've got playing the game. Want to find out how the new rules work? Well, the first thing to do is to read this month's battle report, Cleanse and Burn, which is a clash between Orcs and Imperial Fist Space Marines. The next thing to do is rush to your nearest Games Workshop store and try out the game for yourself. The staff will be only too pleased to teach you. And then right at the bottom we've got something called Alien Pirate Raiders. Reported incidents of Eldar pirate raids are increasing at an alarming rate, striking with deadly speed. These aliens are especially bloodthirsty and vicious, even by the standards of their race. So it's a bit about the Dark Eldar, which again, if memory serves, was third edition when they introduced the Dark Eldar. Oh yeah, so here, it literally says here, the Dark Eldar are the sinister new army that has been created for the new edition of Warhammer 40k. Once it was decided to do a Dark Eldar army, the idea was then taken and developed into a finished army list with a detailed and rather unpleasant background by the twisted imaginations of the Games Workshop or Games Design team. The task of designing the bulk of the Dark Eldar range fell to Gary Morley and Chris Fitzpatrick, Central to the design was the use of curved blades, which you'll see throughout the range. So we've got Gary and Chris to thank for Dark Eldar, which is a nice, again, shout out. As I mentioned in the last video, it's nice to just see some names of designers and artists. Next then, still in the news, we've got news from Black Library. So we've got a journal and the comic coming out. Games Workshop Nottingham Exhibition Centre, Museum and new Dungeon Vault. Work to refurbish the Games Workshop Museum at Nottingham HQ continues. Citadel Legends, remember the first Citadel miniatures from the early 80s? Well, they're back. We've scored our ancient moulds in search of the... Oh, scoured, sorry. We've scoured our ancient moulds in search of the oldest Citadel miniatures, many of which aren't even in our back catalogue, and are selling limited stocks in our Nottingham HQ store. So a bit like a, well, not made to order I suppose back then, is it? It's just rehashing old stuff. And Nottingham HQ store is open 7 days a week, and in addition to the full range of Games Workshop books, miniatures and games, you can also purchase any miniatures from our mail order service on the spot. I used to hear about this. I was always told that if you went to the old Games Workshop Nottingham HQ store and you were there and you ordered something, they would go out and make it or just go grab it for you then and there. So if anything you needed, you could just wait and they would, also in fact, even a model is not in stock, they'll find the molds and cast some for you there and then. See, in writing. The rumours were true. I never got to use that. That would have been awesome though. Over to the other side then, so we can win a copy of Chaos Gate. You've got Wood Elf Legends, complete model listing for £1. What's this? Also available is the Wood Elf Legend. Oh, I don't remember them doing this. So this looks like it's just an entire catalogue dedicated to Wood Elves that you can buy for £1. And if you want to do a classic War Dancer model Superb Archers. Okay, that's quite cool. So that was handy back in the day, you know, before the internet was a really big deal. You could buy the catalogue of the army you wanted by the looks of it. I don't really remember that, but for £1, and you could then, obviously you can see a little snippet there of all the models you could order. So careers at Games Workshop, developing our Japanese business. We're currently expanding our hobby into Japan and are looking for some Japanese speaking sales. So this is, okay, so 1998, looks like is when they were expanding into Japan. And I believe they're still there. I think it's stores only. I don't know if they've got a... they definitely don't have a production out there, but I'm wondering if they've got like a depot or something. I can't remember what they've got in Japan. But yeah, so they're putting out an advert for people to come work in the Japanese business, well, business side of it, which is quite cool. And on the next page then, after we finish the news, we've got a how to paint Dark Eldar. So it gives you a quick little assembly tutorial, I guess, or diagram. And then down here it shows you how to go from base coat up to tabletop standard or finished product. And I believe the red was the one used in the box game, so that will be where they're basing that from. I don't know the names of any of that though. So if there is a specific name, like Eldar have the craft worlds, I can't remember how Dark Eldar work now. You can, yeah, either tell me or you already know. But looking at here as well, there's different colour schemes to give you some inspiration, which is also quite nice to see. And it's also quite funny to see the old Dark Eldar models actually looking at it. I forgot what they used to look like. So the next page literally is just a double spread of the new Warhammer 40k artwork. Basically the front of the box showing you the Black Templars. And after that then, you've got a Warhammer 40k. What is it all about then by Andy Chambers? So this looks like it is a Q&A basically with Andy Chambers. So down here, it's done in a Inquisition style. So you got the Inquisitor asking everybody, Andy Chambers, questions. I believe Andy is the subject, and then it's just answering the questions. And then jumping over to this side, we've got a nice picture of Dante with his Blood Angels, and it basically just goes through all the differences from 2nd edition to this edition. And down here, obviously, it just gives you a nice little gallery from Rogue Trader to the 2nd edition Warhammer 40k, which I remember getting still. Never had Dark Millennium, unfortunately, but I did get the box game for the 2nd edition, and I still remember all the Space Marines, the Orcs, the little cardboard cutout Killer Can, Orc Dreadnought. It was amazing. I'm never sure what happened to it all though. And next we've got, it's basically still talking about all the differences between the new 40k. Little segments called Ooh That's Changed, Ooh That's Changed, Force Organizations, New Army Lists. It's basically just talking you through all the new stuff. And down at the bottom we've got some real pretty pictures of some models to complement it. And we've got a nice picture of Marneus Calgar, which for me was one of my first ever character models in fact. And at the time I didn't understand 40k. I bought him wanting to do Dark Angels, painted in green, and then my friend told me he's actually an Ultramarine, that's what all the U's stand for, and I had no idea. So I had to repaint him as blue Ultramarines, and then I started collecting Ultramarines instead. But I always wanted Dark Angels. And on the next page then, we've got another double page spread then, still talking about the game. So I think it's just telling you all about the different units you can take. So troop elites, fast attack, heavy support. Another little bit about something that's changed. Force organization. And then across the bottom, some nice pretty pictures again. I would say it's all stuff that isn't made anymore, but I want to say that the Eldar jet bikes are possibly still in production at this date, and this is 98, so they haven't updated them. I could be wrong, I'm sure that's correct. I think the Warwalker has been updated, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. Cadians, not Cadians, sorry, Catachan. Why did I say Cadians? Imperial Guard, the Catachans. I nearly said it again. Catachans, yeah, I can't do it. So the Catachans I think are still the same molds. Obviously the Dark Eldar changed. Do they still sell the Chaos bikes? I don't know if they still sell the Chaos bikes. If they do, I don't think they've been updated. The old Orc stuff here, Orc truck. Either way, some nice pretty pictures there. Moving on. Ooh, so this is a very nice double spread of some artwork. Loving the looks of that. I don't know who they all are. I think that's definitely John Blanche though. You can kind of just tell. I'm not savvy with all the names of other artists unfortunately, but I do appreciate all the black and white art, and I do miss a lot of the black and white art, I have to say. After that then, we've got another advert for the new Warhammer 40k game, and this time it actually shows you what comes in the box. So I don't remember them. Oh yeah, it's a little bit of scenery. Those red rulers, that would really hurt if you whipped yourself, or when I say whipped yourself, you never whipped yourself, you always whipped your younger brother or somebody, didn't you? Somebody else they killed. You've got, looks like one tank squad, a land speeder, and then some Dark Eldar, and then you get your dice and your templates. Templates, good old days. And then again at the top here, just a nice little spread of some Crimson Fists fighting some, well, looks like Nurgle with Fabius Bile. Okay, so next then we've got another article with Andy Chambers, and it's basically telling you, or asking, can I use my existing armies? So this is quite interesting. I never knew they did this. So this is basically, because second edition I guess was such a change, wasn't it, for into third. And then on from third onwards, it's kind of been a similar game in terms of structure, I guess, like with, you know, removing a lot of the dice and just becoming a D6 game, etc. It looks like, yeah, basically that people are wondering how to translate your armies from second into third, which is quite interesting to see. So this looks like it's a whole section just basically explaining to you how all that would work. So if you've got your second edition Blood Angels army, translating the army, it kind of goes through it all for you. So next again we've got another advert, so the Space Marine Battle Force. So it looks like you get some Terminators, attack squads, some bikes and a land speeder. And on the other page then you've got basically what comes inside the box by the looks of it. So the new 40k box just gives you a little brief description of all the stuff in it, even down to the terrain and the templates. And then after that, some more selling, I guess. So basically we've put together a number of different ways for you to get your hands on the new 40k. So you've got the books, attack squads, the box sets, terrain, battle force. It's just showing you all the different things that you can buy. And then over here it's actually got the box set itself and tells you what comes inside of it. And then down here it's got a bit for the Dark Eldar, for the Codex and the Dark Eldar battle force. Okay, so next then, more 40k stuff. So in the pipeline. So basically Andy Chambers gives us a quick look at some of the cool stuff coming soon for Warhammer 40k. So looking at it then, it's basically just showing you more of the extra stuff that will be coming out. So a selection of exciting new range of Dark Eldar miniatures, Dark Eldar Reaver jet bikes, some cool artwork again. I don't remember that picture, that looks wicked. Over here, so you've got, Blood Angels, Codex, Dark Angels, and these Space Marines with heavy weapons are from the new boxed set of Devastators, available soon. So looking at it, were these metal then? So these plastic on metal? Because those weapons look metal. Yeah, so it must have been, I don't actually remember that. So were the original Devastators metal? Well, I know the original ones from 2nd edition on the shoulders were metal, weren't they? So yeah, perhaps they were. So they look like a combination of metal and plastic. So they're coming out soon, so they're brand new. And down here is a nice little cool snippet of a Space Marine with his bolter. Again, I don't recognise that artwork, but that's a cool little way to add that, fit that in there. Again, onto the next page then, we've got a cool little piece of artwork down the sides here, both of Chaos and Dark Eldar. So here's some, oh wow. Oh, this is good. Some work in progress shots of the new Chaos Space Marine Obliterators by Dave Andrews. Oh, so this is cool to see actually. Is that all plastic card that he's using there? I can't tell. So he's obviously got, yeah, I don't know how he's making them. That's really cool to see. I don't remember them doing that either, showing you stuff in progress. That's really nice to see. Another work in progress shot of the Dark Eldar Scourge by Gary Morley. Dark Eldar Witch from the Witch Cult by Chris Fitzpatrick. So again, he gets a shout out, both of them. And then sneak preview of the brilliant new plastic Orc Warrior kit by Brian Nelson. This is a photo of the 3-up master mold. The finished plastic models won't be available for a few months, but we thought you'd enjoy a peek at this new design. So it's kind of similar to what they do now, where they sort of tease and show you upcoming stuff, but this is actually quite cool to see it in progress, really. I mean, that I really like seeing that. That's really cool to see the Obliterators sort of being half made and how they look before they're finalized. And again, yeah, for all of this, that's a really cool touch. That's nice to see, actually. I like that. Let's have a look to the next page. Is there any more? Nope, that was it. So, Warhammer 40k, Ain't Space Marines Brilliant by Jess Goodwin and Nick Davis. So this is basically an article where I think they're talking about the original Space Marines. So that's the new Space Marine sprue showing you what you get. Here's a little picture of the original Space Marines that you could get for Rogue Trader back in the day. I believe it was just for Rogue Trader, wasn't it? Unless did they move into 2nd edition? Can't even remember. A cool little conversion of a Space Marine firing a missile launcher from Ali Morrison. And then just a nice picture of the Ultramarines Tactical Squad all painted up. On the next page then, you've got a little bit about the Space Marine Special Accessory Sprue. Just gives you a little image of the accessory sprue that comes with the new kit. Just gives you, oh yeah, it's all detailed, so just basically explaining which part's which and what comes on it. A little thing about the Space Marine Bolter sprue, so it even gives you little articles, little snippets about it. Again, Space Marine backpack, so that's when they redesigned all the backpack, and it goes through that, and just a nice little picture of it again. And then down the side here, it's just a nice picture of how to assemble your Space Marines. So this is all, remember, this is all before even the kit's even out yet. It's just showing you how they're all going to go together to get everybody hyped up for it, which, if I remember correctly, when I first saw these, I remember getting hyped up for it because the monopose, the sticky on the front of the shoulder, the chest Space Marines were gone, and these looked amazing. And then across the bottom, you've got a load of conversions from people. So basically just adding stuff on and dressing up their Space Marines nicely. And yeah, I think that's, yeah, it's a nice little addition to show what you can do with them. After that, we've got another advert for Codex Space Marines. And then we've got a competition, a White Dwarf competition. So win White Dwarf subscriptions. So 25 winners will get a big box game and of their choice, signed by the writers and the designers, and a 1-year subscription. The first 500 correct entries will each get issues 1, 2, and 3 of Warhammer Monthly. So you can actually, so people used to actually sign stuff, the writers and designers. I never knew that. That's actually really cool to hear or see. I never knew they did that. That's different anyway. But how to enter? We've created 7 mad statements, each of which has a start, a middle, and an end. We've jumbled them up so they all make even less sense than they did to start with. All you have to do is look at the starts, middles, and ends and decide which goes with which. We've even done number 1 for you, just to make things tricky. Half of the jumbled phrases are in Warhammer Monthly issue 8, together with the entry form and closing dates. So that's clever already. They're making you buy Warhammer Monthly to get the entry form and the rest of the stuff. So let's have a quick look. So number 1 basically says, we like White Dwarf and Warhammer Monthly because they are brilliant. So that's the first one sorted. Now here are 3 more jumbled up phrases. Okay, let's have a quick look then. What we got? Paul Sawyer likes eating scabs, renowned the world over for being at the core of Warhammer. Number 3, the strangely determined, in brackets, demented, chap who edits our very own Citadel journal is the Black Templars, the one thing that he'd never leave lying around. And number 4, Mordheim looks to be the next mad invention. Sorry, brilliant game inspired by Bacon Butties, because they are brilliant. Oh man, this feels like old school White Dwarf humour, or just Games Workshop in general, when it was, again, I think I've already said that to death, you know, when it just seemed like it was a fun hobby, wasn't it? It wasn't too corporate-y and stuff. They were all poking fun at stuff and just having a laugh. So now it says, now pick up Warhammer Monthly 8. For the rest of the bits you need to complete all 7 phrases plus your entry form. So that's quite cool actually. That's a pretty decent competition, and it's really engaging as well. It's going to get people doing stuff rather than just answer the question and send it in and hope for the best. You actually have to work for it, and yeah, it's a pretty cool prize. And then on the other side, we've got in this month's awesome issue of Warhammer Monthly, a Blood Quest, Cal Jericho, Dwarf Lords, Shadowfast. So was that the I never had Warhammer Monthly. Guessing by the front of the artwork, there was comics in it. I think I remember, I've seen the comics before, but I'd never had Warhammer Monthly, so I'm not actually sure what came in that. But yeah, you had to get that to be able to enter this. So that was how they did it, and I think that's actually pretty cool. I really like that. That's made me laugh. Next then, we're on to some Warhammer Fantasy stuff. So obviously just called Warhammer back in the day. Didn't have to say Warhammer Fantasy, it's just Warhammer. Warhammer Armies. So it says here, last issue we released the new Dogs of War book, which allows you to either add mercenaries to your existing army or hire a complete Dogs of War army. This month we bring you even more regiments of renown to add to your force, including rules for the infamous Paymaster, Midas the Mean. So it looks like it's going to go through some stuff to do with Warhammer and the new Dogs of War, which it says released last month. So you've got some special rules, Midas the Mean, so some stats, some magic items, a nice pretty picture. So that is Midas the Mean, possibly the most miserly man in the old world. Is seen with his moneylender Sheik Yadosh and an open pay chest. And next then, we've got a double page spread of some more Warhammer. Leopold's a Leopard Company and Braganza's Besiegers. Braganzas? Is that saying that right? Braganzans? Oh, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to butcher that. I already have done. Anyway, look, yeah, some pretty cool models. So, good old Warhammer. I don't think they've announced anything like this coming back yet, have they? Or is this still available, some of this? They look familiar for some reason, but I'm not sure myself. What we got now? Golgfag's Mercenary Ogres. Oh dear, I'm not saying that too wrong. So we've got some ogres, which I don't remember myself. I wasn't massive into Warhammer, so some of this doesn't ring a bell. The Birdmen of Katraza, is that how you say that? Katraza. I really don't remember them. They look cool though. I hope they come back for the new Old World stuff. I don't actually remember seeing them ever. Regiments of Renown and Lizardmen. So to add Regiments of Renown from Dogs of War book to your existing army, simply pay their points cost from your army's allies allowance. But when we wrote the book, we forgot that Lizardmen have no allowance for allies. Oops. I quite like that. That's quite Well, lizard men are allowed to hire mercenaries. If you wish to do so, you can add up to 25% of the army's total points cost as regiments of renown. Easy, isn't it? So that's quite funny, actually. They've just basically said, we forgot that you can't do that. Whoops. Here's how you do it, though. So that's quite nice. Oh, next, yeah, double page spread of Chaos Gate. So it's a little section of the old Chaos Gate game, which at the start of the video I did allude to. I did play this quite a lot. I don't ever remember completing it, but I did remember playing it and upgrading. I always remember that screen upgrading. My Space Marines, I don't know if many of them survived. I can't remember if it was permadeath in these or not, so if somebody died you had to replace them. But it was a good game, and I know they've done an updated version actually, which I haven't played yet, thinking about it, so that's just reminded me of that. So next we've got a little page that basically just is advertising the 1999 calendar, sorry. Only £8. John Blanche, Kev Walker, Jeff Taylor, Mark Gibbons. Good old Mark Gibbons. I love his artwork. All the stuff he did for Warhammer back in the day. I like that picture of Khan. I remember that. I haven't seen that in a long time. That was awesome. And then on to some more Warhammer. So you've got Skeleton Warriors. This month we cornered Citadel Miniatures designer Ali Morrison, the man behind the Skeleton Warriors Warhammer Regiment, and got him to tell us all about these Ace plastic skellies. And these are the exact ones that have just been re-released, haven't they, for the Tomb Kings. Only they don't come with, I don't know, they probably come with all this stuff still, but you get the Tomb Kings upgrades, don't you? So after 10 years of sterling service, the old skeleton horde sprue is being retired. So it's already been so this has already been out for 10 years, and now it's being retired in 1998, and they've just re-released it again in 2024. Interesting. Okay then, so after 10 years of sterling service, the old skeleton horde sprue has been retired to be replaced with the excellent skeleton Warhammer Regiment. Oh, sorry, my bad. I should have finished reading that. So 10 years sterling service, the old skeleton horde sprue is being retired to be replaced with the excellent skeleton warriors Warhammer Regiment. So that is the new one. So they're not already like 20, 30 years old. Well, they are now, they're old. But so these were the new ones at the time, and the other ones were being retired. And here we have a picture. So this is quite cool. So all our plastic models start life as 3 upscale models. So that's always nice to see. I like when they used to do that as well. So show you the actual size that they sculpt and make them at, and then they scale them down to what we all know when we build them. And yes, so was it? Oh, there is. So this looks like it was actually done in a bone color, perhaps, because that one's grey, which we all know. But the original one looks like it was actually produced in a bone color. And that is the same sprue that I think you're getting with the Tomb Kings now. So in 2024, this has been re-released in grey for all your Tomb Kings needs. And down here, you've just got some cool little pictures of the skeletons all built up and painted. And then over here, collecting an undead army. So it's got a picture of the army book for you. So you've seen the new Skeleton Warriors Warhammer Regiment, and now you're thinking about collecting an undead army. The question you're asking yourself is, where do I start? Well, over the next few pages is a guide to help you collect your own undead horde. Cool. So there's a cool little picture of some skeletons, and now it's going to tell you how you collect and make an undead army. So on here we've got a nice roster sheet to help you get started by the looks of it. A bit about the undead general. So Vampire Lord Duke Harkon Redthirst. Skeleton Horseman. The new Skeleton Warriors box. So it's got 2 pictures, so there's that with spears and with swords and axes. And then it moves on to expanding your army. So it gives you some detail on where to go from there. So that's good. Again, I kind of like that. Do they still do that these days, where if you start a new army, it kind of tells you which direction to kind of go in if you want, or do they not do that anymore? I don't really know. But that's a nice little article as well to help you build a skeleton army. And here we go. He's got some nice pictures as well on the battlefield of all the skeletons. So the Undead Chariot, I think that was my first ever model, the Undead Chariot. That was the first thing I ever got bought, I remember. Well, I can't remember where we were, but we were in a Games Workshop and I wanted to start collecting, and that was the first thing I ever got. I have no idea what happened to it, but I remember building it and it was amazing. And then I never got any more skeletons because all my friends did 40k and I moved into 40k. True story. How to paint skeleton warriors. So nice little article about how to paint your miniatures up. Again, quite quick and easy, 4 steps. So 1, white, paint it, wash it, and then dry brush it by the looks of it. And then lightly draw over the surface of the model and erase areas. Yep, so it's just a dry brushing technique. Nice and effective, still used to this day. Warhammer Dem Bones by Nick Davis. The new Skeleton Warrior and Shield Spruce have started a wave of modelling and conversions. We dispatched Nick Davis to find out all about it. Okay, so this looks like it's an article about how all the new the molds are used. So all the new skeleton sprues. So as you can see, it's actually in some dioramas or sort of terrain pieces used as dead bodies. The skulls all piled up outside of a castle. Even in 40k, they're being used. So it's on top of a dreadnought. Skulls all around the rhino. And then Ali Morrison, one of the set of the miniature designers, one of the people responsible for Skeleton Warrior Spruce, has decided to base his skeletons on a 40mm base. He saves ranking of all those single... Oh, okay, 20mm skeletons. So he's based them on 40mm bases by the looks of it, put them clumped up together. And then just some more details. So somebody, yeah, like that, using the lid of the coffin as a shield. Got them coming out the ground here. A nice little different colour paint scheme as well, like a greeny, bluey green. Next, we've just got all the Games Workshop action in every store. So this is basically where they would list all the stores. So open soon, so it tells you all the new stores. And it says stores whose addresses are green are not open on Sundays. So that's quite handy to know. So anything in green basically just tells you where everything is. Okay, so here it's got a thing about the Siege of Erengrad. So basically they had a Warhammer event that took place on the 1st of August in all the stores around the country. So just a little bit about that, store events, and then it tells you about all the new stores opening, and then some events going on in store, because again, you know, internet probably, well, yeah, it was going, wasn't it? But it wouldn't be used, I don't think, massively to find out stuff, so this is your best way. So again, it sort of tells you all the stuff going on. And we've got a double page spread of grand openings. So Nottingham, so from the Market Square of Nottingham, head towards Friar Lane. So the Friar Lane store was just opening. Oh, okay, I thought that had been open a lot longer than that for some reason. So Liverpool, yeah, so stores open, and oh, coupons. Oh, here we go. So Epic 40k and all Warhammer, 15 quid off. Redeemable at Games Workshop, Harrow, Liverpool, Nottingham and Truro. So if you went to one of these new stores, you would actually get money off. 10 quid off Blood Bowl, Gore Kamorka or Warhammer 40k game. And then 5 quid off Warhammer Army books, Warhammer 40k book or Necromunda book. Again, only redeemable at the new stores. Buy 3 blister packs and get the one with the lowest price free. Buy 3 box sets and get the one with the lowest price free. Now, that is something you don't see in Games Workshop anymore. Money off or deals as such. Everything is just, it is what it is. And on the next page then, we've got a double page spread of it's a store army of the month. So basically it looks like they choose a store, and this is the Cardiff manager and his Beastmen army. So you get to show off your army inside of Games Workshop from one of the stores. I don't know, they must just pick a random one every month perhaps. And then on the next page we've got an advert for Inferno. 68 pages, short stories, comic strips, illustrations and more. Inferno issue 6, out now, 5 quid. I never had any of them either myself. I don't think I ever saw them either. I think that's the problem. A lot of this stuff I don't ever remember coming across, so I never really picked it up. Anyway, enough about me. Warhammer Mordheim, City of the Damned. Welcome once again to the grim streets of the City of the Damned. During the last few months we have detailed rules for special weapons and equipment and have told you how to build warbands. This month we present 3 Mordheim scenarios, namely Skirmish, Street Fight and Hidden Treasure. Okay, so on the second page then you've got Scenario 2, Scenario 3, so a couple of scenarios for Mordheim, followed by a comic. So there's a little Mordheim comic as well, which was only 1 page by the looks of it, so it's just a 1-page Mordheim comic and just a 1 or 2 page Mordheim scenario. Next page then, mailbox. So this is obviously where they used to answer, you know, the letters sent into them in the style of, basically you were writing to the White Dwarf himself and he would answer your letters. After that, Warhammer Siege, Changing Forts by Nick Davis. After touring the fortresses of the Warhammer world in Warhammer White Dwarf 225, Nick Davis discovers the finer points of Warhammer Fortress exterior decorating using the new metal architecture extras released this month. Okay, so that's, I don't think they make that anymore. I wonder if they'll bring that back, 'cause I'm sure that's the old castle mold that they used to have for Warhammer Fantasy. And I'm wondering now if they'll ever try and bring that back with Old World. Be interesting to see. So here's a bit about Empire castles. Castles of the Empire are renowned for their square towers and solid no-nonsense architecture. So yeah, over here then you've got some nice just pictures again of pieces of the castle. I think with extras on, so it says here Sallyport has been built into this wall using one of the plastic doors from the box set. So basically it looks like just little conversions and stuff people have been doing with the castle molds. Ah, here we go. So yes, so then you've got Chaos Fortresses. So here's a Chaos version of what people have done with a little painting guide of painting bronze, which is actually okay. How they done that? So paint the area jade green, give the bronze a weathered look, dry brush the area with tin bits, finish off the bronze, a final dry brushing of shining gold is applied to the entire area. That's quite handy actually, I might try that still. And then just little bits about how to chaosify your fortresses. And then down here, other forts. Every race in the Warhammer world builds fortresses for protection, from crudely patched up orc castles to stout dwarf fortresses. So again, you've got I guess that's an orc version. Similar, yeah, looks orky. And then you've got your dwarven ones. So that's quite cool to see. So it's just how you can make the castles look different and fit a different theme. On to the next part then. So this video is running on along, right? I'll try and get this done soon. This is a big magazine, a lot of stuff going on. So we've got some Forge World stuff. So Forge World is an entirely new venture for Games Workshop. Oh, okay, so Forge World is new here. It aims to create loads of groovy bits and pieces for the Games Workshop game systems, as well as producing collectible large-scale sculptures. Forge World is headed by Paul Robbins, the man who twice lifted the Golden Demon Slayer sword. Read on and we'll tell you all about the goodies due to come from the Forge World over the coming months. Ah, this is interesting. So Forge World had literally just become a thing then. So what's this? The Lichmaster's impressive chap is a 120mm sculpture of Heinrich Kemmler, the dreaded Lichmaster by Mark Towler. This will be one of the first large-scale models to be produced by Forge World and will be set in the Lichmaster's lair. Okay then, so I don't ever remember that. So could you buy that? Because that sounds amazing. Jumping over here, there's the Golden Demon being painted up. So it's the new Golden Demon, which I think is still the current one, isn't it? So that's cool to see. And then what's this? Orc Warlord. Sitting astride his monstrous warboard. The Munson Orc Warlord really is a spectacular model. The Orc himself is over 120mm tall, so you can imagine how big this piece will be when it's complete. Alright, so they did... Is that how Forge World started then? They just did massive models to buy. Proud 120mm Bretonnian Grail Knight on foot, an awesome 120mm Space Marine. So Forge World isn't only going to be selling large-scale models, oh no, they'll be making loads of terrain pieces and gaming accessories. Here are some of the things in the pipeline. Sculpted 40k craters as well as the 120mm stuff. Road sections for both Warhammer 40k river sections. That's crazy. I did not know that's how Forge World started out, and that's what they did. That's pretty cool to see. Barbed wire. The first Forge World project to see the light of day is these funky new etched brass barbed wire sheets, which are available for £5 a sheet. I never knew they did that either. So that's how they used to do all that, I'm guessing. That looks really cool. Why don't they bring that back? That could be useful. All you need to do is paint the sheet and then clip the wire from it, wrap it tightly around with 3 pens, pencils, try to overlap a bit, and this makes it look more authentic. That's quite cool. Oh, they should bring that back, definitely. And I want to see this. Does anybody have that? I want to see if anybody has that. I'm going to have to start Googling that and try and find that, see if that ever got released. Next page then, I'll rip your face off. Journal. So another advert for the Journal, Games Workshop, issue 28, £4. And then Warhammer, the Battle of Iron Axe Ridge. So this looks like a Warhammer battle report. So the Beauty of Beastmen, the Battle of Iron Axe Ridge, scenario rules. Oh, so is this... Oh no, so maybe it's not a battle report. It's actually just giving you a scenario to play. So you're welcome to use the spells of your favourite foul entity of chaos if you wish, and give you the deployment map. So dwarfs, beastmen attack. Roster sheet, I don't know, I'm guessing you don't have to follow them. Designer's notes, dwarf tactics, core must have loads of better things to do. So it's by Mike Walker. Over here we've got Beastman Tactics, what actually happened, so the description I guess of what went on. And then we come back to 40k, so with the new edition being released you get a battle report. Which we spoke about at the start, saying Imperial Fists against the Orcs by Jervis Johnson, Adrian Wood and Gav Thorpe. So you got your mission objective, the preliminaries, cleanse mission setup, game length, 6 turns, line of retreat, standard force organisation. So here's a nice pretty picture of Gav Thorpe's Imperial Fists. All those nice looking old yellow models. The yellow looks quite nice, quite like that. Cool little piece of artwork again down here. And the old style of battle reports, where they do the little illustrated pictures of what was, what am I trying to say? Each squad, isn't it? So you could follow along. And we've got Adrian Wood with his orcs. And again, all the cool little illustrations that go along with them to help you follow along in the battle report, and a nice picture of the entire army. Again, I kind of like this old style of pictures. I'm just trying to think, something just looked different then. Like nowadays they go really to town with all effects on them. I just like this. It just looks like a hobby at this point. I don't know if I'm making that up. Like today, in this day and age, all the photography looks amazing, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they put too much effort into some special effects over the stuff and like all the smoke and everything. I miss it just looking like a tabletop hobby, you know, you just have your army there and that's the photo. That's it, done. It just looks wicked. I like it like that. Oh, here we go. So yeah, here's your, it's just a list of what they're taking. I think it is, yeah. So if you wanted to recreate it, that's quite cool, yeah. So 1,500 points, so 14.95, 1,500 points on the orcs. And then they get into it. So monster and vehicle characteristics, you got your deployment, and this is how it's going to look. So that's a deployment picture. Again, all the cool little illustrations. And then the turn sequence. So turn 1, and it tells you everything they did. And I think this looks awesome still. I kind of like this. It might be a nostalgic thing, but I kind of like how this looks, like looking at it from, you know, above you with all the little illustrations of what was happening, with a little detailed description. And then it looks like it just basically tells you some of the new rules for the new edition. And then there's a nice little picture of the in-game models. And then on to the next turn. So that's Orc turn 1. All right, so that was only Imperial Fists turn 1, so this is the Orcs turn 1. So throwing caution to the wind, Adrian's boys in the centre surged forward, while his truck-mounted troops swung off round the flank of the Space Marines. So yeah, it tells you what's going on. Looks like it gives you a bit of a description down here about vehicles, dreadnoughts, a glancing hits table, a penetrating hits table, And then it goes into a little description of turn 2 for the Orcs and the Space Marines, basically showing you what happened. Again over here, another little picture of the actual models themselves. And then to turn 3. So we've got a little bit about close combat weapons in blue, morale checks. So just going over all the updated rules for the new edition. And I've just spotted the old banners, the old paper banners. I miss them as well. They weren't very practical. Once you tore them, it was kind of annoying. But, you know, it's just nostalgia there for that. I like them. And the old jump pack Marines, the old jump packs. I do miss them as well. Ah, nostalgia, ain't it great? Crossfire. Oh, I don't know that rule. They shall know no fear. Means when they fall back, they automatically regroup. So that's still the same as it used to be. Yeah, so there's nice pictures again of the in-game models, and then obviously the descriptions for the turns. So turn 4, transport vehicles, bikes, some more rules, a little bit about the effect of cover. Although Space Marines had won the battle, they could still lose the war. Adrian knew he could no longer win this battle by wiping out the Space Marines. I'm guessing the Marines are doing their job quite well by the looks of it. So assaulting vehicles, another rule. So the Terminators are still alive, judging by that picture. Space Marines turn 6. Removing casualties. So Space Marine turn 6, a cool little piece of artwork there, black and white picture. And Orc turn 6, so you've got a cool little picture of the Gretchen surrounding the bike. And down here, basically, so the end of turn 6, the result. Space Marines, 0 board sections. Orcs, 1 board section. And then on this page, you've got a really cool 2 pieces of art, black and white artwork, hand-drawn picture of a Space Marine and some Orcs. Again, I don't recognise them, but I really like them. They're really good looking. And then you come to the end, where obviously they round it up, they talk over the battle, and they have a really cool little picture. Adrian decides to continue the battle off the tabletop. Kapow! So a nice little funny picture of them at the end there. And then to mail order. So this is right at the end, I believe. So you can order anything, and you've got Dutch, Holland mail order, so all the UK stuff. Mail orders open 7 AM to midnight, 7 days a week, including bank holidays. So of course, you can order the new game and all the new codexes and books. So the game is 50 quid. Rule book with slipcover, 25 quid. If you're one of the first 1,000 people to place an advance order with us, you'll receive a number, certified, and an exclusive Imperial Eagle keyring. Just ring mail order on that number to find out how to get yours. That's quite cool then, I didn't know they did that either. So the first 1,000 people, you get a little certificate. Can't do that much anymore because all the bots would get them online, wouldn't they? So it's not quite the same. And then a little picture just telling you what comes again in the box, what you can order. And there's a section of the Space Marines. So you've got the 8 quid Space Marines Codex. Well, the 8 quid, was that the really thin editions actually? Was that third when it did the really thin ones? 40 quid for the box set, so your Space Marine Battle Force. 10 quid for your Tactical Squad. And then 20 quid for the Command Squad. 10 quid for a Rhino, 20 quid for a Razorback. The old style Razorback with the big gas turret on the back. I had one of them, the metal turret, plastic frame, that was cool. And then the Command Squad, I never had that, but I remember when they brought that out, seeing all the posing that they could do with the Marines in that one. And just thinking they looked amazing. New plastic Space Marines. So it looks like this was still back in the day, yes. So you could, everything had its own code and you could order it by parts. So if you wanted a backpack sprue, 50p each. Arm and bolter sprue, 40p each. Main body sprue, 6 quid. Special accessory sprue was £1.50. So all you needed was the code that came with each sprue, and you just ordered them separately and they'd just send you them. even more Space Marines. So just rehashing, I think, everything we've just looked at. Oh, no. Sorry. No, so we've seen that. But this is all stuff we haven't just seen. Well, we've seen the Tactical Squad. But it's just showing you other things you can get. So a 25 quid Dreadnought, 15 quid for Terminators, then all the tanks down the side. And then also check out the 1998 Citadel Miniatures Annual Space Marine Legends Catalogue and Mail Orders Troll Magazine for tons of other Space Marine bits. And then we've got some terrain, and again you can buy the terrain all separately, so all individually priced. That cool barbed wire, brass etched barbed wire stuff, which I wish they bring back now. I never knew existed until now. And then we've got some Warhammer stuff, so you can buy your Warhammer regiments, so 10 quid for a box of skeletons. Duke Harkon's Undead Army, so 1,000 point Undead Army deal for 44 quid. So you get 1,000 points straight out of the box. So, expanding your army can be easy. You can buy complete 1,000 point Undead Army plus an extra 2 boxes of Skeleton Warriors for 64 quid, and we'll give you a 5th box absolutely free. That's 20 Skeleton Warriors for free. So they're cutting you deals left, right and centre back in the day, aren't they? Really trying to get the stuff and give it away to you. Wouldn't even dream of that now, would they? So next we've got some Warhammer armies. We've got Dogs of War, so we've got a bundled deal. So spend 25 quid on Dogs of War models here and then pick 5 quid's worth of Dogs of War models for free. The army book was 15 quid. There's other deals here. You got all your box sets here. This Empire Engineer makes a perfect Leonardo di Maraglino. Oh, butchered that for £1.75. I do apologise for not pronouncing that correctly. Over here, you've got individual miniatures. So Pirates, £1.75 each, or 5 for 3. 5 quid for 3, sorry. Standard Bearer, 2 quid. Drummer, 2 quid. Marksman, £1.75 each, or 5 quid for 3. So it seems like that's pretty much across the board. And then all your other box bits that you could maybe want. Advanced orders. So you can pre-order your Codex Dark Eldar, the Landspeeder, some Warhammer stuff. I think that's must be it, unless it's all this stuff as well. So subscriptions to the magazines. And this month's issue of Troll, Mail Order's own magazine, is full of to bring with deals and crazy ideas, including loads of new 40k army deals, architecture extra bits to add to your castles, undead army deals and conversions, plus components pages for the latest releases. And here's the rest. So it basically just gives you a rundown of everything that you can buy and prices. And then very lastly, finally, we get to the actual order page. So if you want to do it by mail, you fill in that with all your stuff, send it away. And then on the very last page is your White Dwarf subscriptions. Take out this month's subscription deals and you'll get an extra issue of White Dwarf absolutely free. Take out a 2-year for 75 quid and we'll give you 6 more issues for free. Take out a 1 and we'll give you 2 issues for free. So it's before they started doing the models with the subscriptions, but they just gave you free magazines if you subscribed. And lastly, on the back page then, we've just got some more pretty pictures of some Warhammer 40k stuff. So I'm going to wrap it up there really quickly because this video I've rambled on way too long. A lot longer than I thought I was going to. There's a lot of stuff in this White Dwarf I did not realise. But it's also really good and nice to see. A nice trip down memory lane. So I hope you made it this far, and if you have, I really appreciate you watching the video. So thanks for joining me, and come back next time because I've got a few more to go through. So until then, I'll catch you later. Bye.